Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you apparently my latest unit hyperfixation. And oddly enough, I don't love or hate this unit. I am pretty neutral about it, but I think when you say enough criticisms, it sounds like hate. The Hive Tyrant, or the genre of Hive Tyrant that we have for the Tyranids, I want to be less needed. I've said that for a while now that I don't like spending 235 points for this because, frankly, I don't value a good portion of it. Yeah, I don't value a good portion of it. And it's always met with, but no, it's great, it does all the things. And again, I give some credit in certain circumstances. Like, don't get me wrong, Will of the Hive Mind, once per turn, one friendly Tyranid unit within a foot of one or more models with this ability can use it when its unit is targeted with a stratagem. If it does, reduce the CP cost of the use of that stratagem by one command point. I like that. It is good. It is pretty good. So much that all of our lists start with which Hive Tyrant am I going to take? Walkrent, Flyrant, or Swarmlord? But that's kind of where it stops for me. The chassis is okay as well. T10, 2 up, 4 up, invuln, 10 wounds. Not too bad. The melee weapon could use work. That could use some more attacks. The ranged weapons could use both work and more attacks, right? We're looking at AP2 where, don't know why our commander, which is funny, we're going to talk about a different commander later on, and to how I kind of landed on what this video is going to be. It does kind of better things or has better ways to get around a lot of these things. And then this also goes into the other punching bag that I've had lately, Synapse. I think this is a perfect opportunity for GW to finally add something to Synapse that I don't think would be too broken. And I know I say that and you're like, but you just said give the Hormagaunts a shotgun. And I'll be like, yeah, fuck it, let them have fun. But jokes aside, the Synapse, it doesn't do much for us in the way that things were written. And I have a proposal that eliminates an issue kind of the same way that it has been addressed in Guard recently. I don't like that it feels that my list is going to suffer if I don't include a Hive Tyrant, right? It is supposed to be a very good Synapse beast, monster, creature, but it's not supposed to be the Synapse out of every list, right? Like, the whole flavor is that we have Synapse. They're supposed to be like cough cough captains. And with that, I think here's my proposal. That if we were to look at Synapse once more, right? This part kind of fucking doesn't matter. Don't get me wrong, it's handy when it happens. When it doesn't, I sure fuck it. But the melee part, we don't we don't have the AP nor the volume of attacks to really love this as much. Like, it is a band-aid fix to a datasheet problem. But I think if we treated Synapse creatures like what they are, captains of the hive mind, ones that give tactics, strategies, right? The whole thing is you're a mindless beast unless there's a Synapse creature around. And then, oh, why are the bugs moving like that? They're using stratagems. I think I am proposing that Synapse gets the rule that captains do, or Chaos Lords, right? Where if a creature is within Synapse range, or one creature within Synapse range, once per round, turn, probably turn, you can, in Synapse range, reduce the cost of a stratagem used on a unit within Synapse range by 1 command point, right? I think then I don't feel bad about using another Synapse creature for the sake of it being cheaper than 235 points. And back to the Walkrent specifically, right? I don't give a fuck about Onslaught like that. I really don't. Because we don't have that many guns that this applies to. We have the Exocrine. That's about it. Because why? Well, the Walkrent, because you want Will of the Hive Mind, is going to be in corners. Going to be hiding away, not going to be in the front lines unless you are taking a a Tyrant Guard spam list. And guess what? The Tyrant Guard don't have guns. So then back to square one as to who gives a fuck about Onslaught, because you have spent probably 400 odd points on Tyrant Guard, right? So I don't think that works out kind of ever. But the Exocrine can get lethals. Yay! But my Exocrine has assault. And it's heavy. You move it like once per game with the assault, if that. And that's about it. Like, I don't value this aspect of the Hive Tyrant. And it's hard to argue that it should be cheaper when on the datasheet you are looking at a T10 monster with a 2-up save, 4-up invuln, 10 wounds, reduce the cost of stratagems over here, assault, lethals, and provide synapse, right? And Shadow in the Warp if you don't have anything else that does that. It's hard to say that that needs to be cheaper, but I don't want it to feel included when we don't have data sheets to back up the Onslaught part enough. You can argue, well, now I don't have to take Turvy, and I'll just take a bunch of Termagants without Turvy. Counterpoint, what if you didn't have to take the Hive Tyrant because you still got the free stratagem once per turn and the lethals, and they already have assault weapons, and Turvy's cheaper and bulkier, right? Like, what if that was the case? Okay, and then you'd argue, why would I go for this synapse change then? Like, my Hive Tyrant would be useless. No, in my opinion, right? My counterpoint would be that then your Hive Tyrant can a foot out target something that isn't in synapse range. That would be the bridge and the help there. And then Swarmlord makes more sense. Because the 9-inch synapse range, who gives a fuck about that? Truly. How many times has that actually helped you in your game? Our epic hero might be a little bit more epic because then we have access to a Hive commander that is giving us 1 command point, reducing the cost, in a way, of another unit, and increasing the cost of our opponent's unit. I think that would be kind of fucking perfect. And then the Swarm Lord would feel like 240 points worth of value, in my humble opinion. Because the melee weapons, not there. Only 8 attacks, that's kind of fucking shitty. The ranged weapon, not there. Why is my epic hero the one that is the herald of the hive mind? Strength 5, AP 1, damage 2 for D6 plus 3 attacks on a torrent that isn't even ignores cover and is psychic, so it can have feel no pains or 4-ups for some fucking units, because they really say we don't care about psychic attacks, right? So I think a lot of our list building, and even then, the other issue is you don't want things to be better that are already good while leaving the shit still shit. If an Exocrine gets to use 1 stratagem for free, it was already going to do that because of the Tyrants, right? It was already going to do that. But now, I don't feel as bad spending 235 points worth of maybe another unit of Broodlord Gene Stealers that are now in position up the field that I can do something like, let's just say, finally using Adrenal Surge for one command point so that they get their crits on 5s without me feeling odd that I had to string something else out to be within a foot of my other Tyrant to do that. Or they get a fight on death while they are up the board and I don't have to be in an awkward position to do that. They can actually consolidate, shit like that. This is just, yeah, because strictly speaking from Invasion Fleet, because I scrolled down really quickly, right? But the other thing is, I don't want to take a Hive Tyrant necessarily all the time just to do rapid regeneration in Invasion Fleet. Because that's the only shit that you're doing, because again of the range issue. So yeah, the free command reroll could also be cute and nice, but I'm paying for the other shit some other way, probably. And that's just if you're using Walkrent. Of course, you could say that you take the Flyrant instead, and then you put that up, but then the wing is poking out, and oh no, you've lost your Flyrant. Good luck paying for shit for the rest of the game, right? And the rest of these tabs, you'll go, there's no way you've pulled up all of these tabs for Tyranids. You're correct. This is just examples how other armies treat the issue that I'm talking about. And I also want to say, in this delve, I had to remember that armies also have units that just do specific stratagems for free. Such as we have one of my favorites, the Von Ryan's Leapers, that can heroically intervene for 0 CP. And can do it if somebody else did it. That's fine. I love them already. Not going to bitch about it. But what I will say is, they still don't make many lists. Because how many times do we need 511 or 611 with Synapse heroically intervening in a match? Because we're still not using any other stratagems. Because we're strapped for the command point, free usage, and then you argue, well, we're still not a fighting army. Which we aren't, because they wrote the entire codex to give us stratagems and buffs for the fight phase, but didn't write our fight phase melee shenanigans to match that. And that's probably a sin from edition past, where it's like, well, yeah, then the pile in, and the Tyranids, they were so good at that fight phase. I tell you what, and then you realize that you didn't include the rules that made them good in the fight phase. So there's that. But moving on, we also have Lictors that can rapid ingress for free, but they don't have Deep Strike. And the other shit in the game that can rapid ingress for free has Deep Strike, or a way to get around that. So yeah, Lictors, I still don't really like Lictors. That's been, I guess, my hot take for a while now, because I don't like how much people depend on Lictors for shit that other things can do. But hey, moving on, we have the Spore Assist, which can fire Overwatch for free, and wait till I show you some other shit that can fire Overwatch for free. This is a monster that can't move, and has 0 OC, so can't do an action, and can't hold your home objective for 145 points. Awesome. Now, let's get on to a unit that's recently been buffed, and kind of exemplifies what I mean with we can have fun too. Yeah. Rabute Gilliman. Robooty is the Primarch of the Ultramarines. The ranged weapon is a bit lacking. The melee weapons, not. You either have the Emperor's Sword with devastating wounds, 14 attacks hitting on 2, strength 8, AP 3, damage 2, or the Hand of Dominion. Lethal hits, 7 attacks hitting on 2s, 14 on the strength, AP 4, damage 4. Now, I'm not saying that a Hive Tyrant should match up 1-for-1 with a Primarch, but for the difference of 110 points, being a unit that has that weapon loadout, 1 less toughness, the choice of 2 author of the Codex abilities, the ones that we're realistically looking at, is the exact same Will of the Hive Mind, but for Adeptus Astartes. And doubling your army rule, which, hey, what's our army rule again? Synapse? Okay. Or Shadow in the Warp. Also doesn't really do shit for us in either of those regards. Okay, cool. And becomes low enough when next to Adeptus Astartes infantry. Okay, awesome. And with Armor of Fate, the first time this model is destroyed, roll 1d6 at the end of the phase on a 3-up, set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed and not within engagement range of any enemy models, with 6 wounds remaining. Alright, so comes back and doesn't have to take a battle shock test, and who would have cared because you have a 5-up on leadership. Right, so for 345 points, again the difference of 110 points, you get a pretty good unit. Now, you say, Monster, I thought you don't like when there are units that are so good it feels like you are missing something when they're not there. Isn't that your whole spiel about the Hive Tyrant? About the Tyrants? You're correct. Because if you notice, Space Marine players sometimes don't even take Guilliman. Because they still have the boy Marnius Calgar in the back pocket. Because at the start of your command phase, if this unit's Marnius Calgar model is on the battlefield, you gain 1 command point for 200 points. So, for us to achieve a fraction of this power of Robu, Tay, Guilliman, and Marnius Calgar, we take the Hive Tyrant and the Swarm Lord for, let's see, 475 points compared to 345, 545 points. So the difference of about, what did I say? 80 something points? I wasn't necessarily thinking at the moment. For around that amount of difference, there is a drastic difference in ability. Because not only that, Martinus Calgar has 2 other abilities on top of that. So our Herald of the Hive Mind, with his Tyrant Guard, definitely do not do close to Marnius Calgar, his Victrix on a guard, and then whatever the fuck he wants to take. And just a moment. This motherfucker is a chapter master, not the Primarch. So our quote-unquote Primarch of Tyranids right now, yeah, doesn't really do that thing. Now, this could be, oh, but the Space Marines have it, and that could be the end of the video. But no, again, going back to the whole captain thing, you're still going to see captains in these lists on top of it. So you have Robute Gilliman reducing the cost of a unit with Supreme Strategist. You have Space Marine players gaining a command point with Marnius Calgar. And then, again, not spending a command point on another unit because of Rites of Battle on captains. And again, this could just be, oh, but that's just Space Marines. I have many more tabs to go through, if you will come with me on this journey. And then going past that, remember that other half of what I was talking about of where, things start to balance out? You have units that can do things for free. And with, 0 CP, specific stratagems. What about Terminators? Right? Terminators. Come on down. Rapid Ingress for free. And because they have Teleport Homer, they do Deep Strike, right? They also have Deep Strike. So, our Rapid Ingress for free has to come on from the board edge. It is low up, though. Alright? It's low up. But, comes on from the board edge. And out of these 4 data sheets, you have reduce the cost by 1 CP, gain a CP, reduce the cost by 1 CP, rapid ingress with deep strike for free. Amongst those 4 data sheets alone. And just Space Marines, right? So moving on. Just going to move on a little bit. What else could be the equivalent for what I'm talking about comparatively for our Hive Tyrant situation? our lictors, our Von Rhein's leapers. Well, a lot of guard players are talking about, or had talked about, I don't want to take Lord Solar Leontis in every fucking list just to give some fucking orders, right? To redeploy and get a CP. Now, for 150 points, doesn't sound too bad. Can even to attach to a plethora of things. This is my other thing, right? You become a lone up with Robute Gilliman when next to things. You don't attach, but you just become a lone up. Calgar gets his fucking choice of the week what he wants to attach to. Leontis, same thing. What the fuck do you want to do today? Hive Tyrant, Swarm Lord, Tyrant Guard. That's it. That's all you got. So that pisses me off too, but we're going to talk about leaders for Tyranids in a different video. I think I've been kind of putting that off if I'm being honest. But so that's Lord Solar Leontis, and it has to stop there. And surprisingly, it doesn't. I thought it did. Then you still have Cadian shock troops and any unit that has a fucking Voxcaster, into which each time you target the bear's unit with a stratagem, roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result if there are 1 or more friendly officer models within 6 inches. A 5 up, you gain 1 command point. So, you then have a nice little, well, I was taking the battle line anyway. If I do spend something on them, I might do it for free. That's pretty nice. Or a constant replacement for Leontis, Ursula Creed. Once per battle round, 1 friendly regiment unit within a foot of this model can be targeted with a stratagem for 0 CP, even if another unit from your army has already been targeted with this stratagem this phase. Alright, good old replacement. Sounds about right. And that's why you see it. Or why you see her, I should say. I just want to keep making the case that, mind you, we've gone through both Space Marines, well, I guess technically just Ultramarines, and now we are working our way through Astra Militarum because there is another. Creed Combat Engineers just dropped like it's hot. Once per turn, you can target this unit with grenades for free. And don't even get me started about how we don't have grenades and Tyranids. So I think I'm starting to hopefully lay out a case for, I think we can get Synapse to do -1 CP on stratagems, right? We go over to another Xenos faction, which, remember when I made that little commander comment where, yeah, Hive Tyrants are like commanders, haha? Yeah, Commander Shadowsun gives Hero of the Empire, where you get reroll hit rolls with 1, but you also have Command Link Drone, while a friendly Tau Empire unit is within 6 inches of the bearer. Each time you select that unit as a target of a stratagem, roll 1d6. On a 5 up, you gain 1 CP. You have Advanced Guardian Drone and Agile Combatant for 100 points on a Infiltrating Stealth Lone Up. Okay, that's just Shadowsun. You have Farsight, who can do the captain thing. Once per battle round, you can target this model's unit with a stratagem. If it does, reduce the cost by 1 CP. Then it gets better because I just recently covered Tau too. Ethereals can, at the end of your command phase, roll 1d6. On the 4 up, you gain 1 CP. Now, mind you, you can't put Ethereals next to Farsight, right? But outside of that, you can do it. And you have Kroot Warsapers for the Kroot that you all really hate over there in Tau. War Leader. Once per battle round, 1 unit from your army with this ability can use it when its unit is targeted with a stratagem. Reduce the cost of a stratagem by 1 command point. So, that's again access to several different areas of reduce the fucking command point usage, and you get to play the game. Stealth battle shoots. Remember when I said that whole rapid ingress thing? Once per battle, you can use the rapid ingress stratagem for 0 CP. The target must be set up within 3 inches of the bearer's unit and not within 9 inches of any enemy units for a homing beacon. Right? You throw a homing beacon, and you're good. You're good. So, they also have Infiltrator and Stealth. A couple of more models for Lichter points, right? Right. Going on, we go to Necrons. The ones that have seen some love, and admittedly, I like that they've seen some love because I also like Necrons. You have Imatech to give you a command point. You have your flavor of Overlords to do the captain thing, reduce command points. You have Hexmark Destroyers. Remember that Overwatch for free? Yeah, this is much better. Where not only do you Overwatch for free, you can move, you have OC, you can deep strike, you're alone up, and when resolving that stratagem hits our score on unmodified hit rolls of a 2-up. Yeah, Hexmark Destroyer, who would have thought that'd be better than a Spore Assist? I think everybody would have. Going on, let's go to an entire faction that does something along the lines of what I'm asking for. With enhanced data tethers out of AdMech, each time you select the bearer's unit as the target of a stratagem, roll 1d6 on a 5-up, you gain 1 CP. Now, AdMech doesn't have too much access to do it for free or straight up gain 1 CP, but enough things in this damn army have an enhanced data tether or data tether like thing that I think it starts to work out a little bit. Going on from there, let's go to Imperial Knights. And we're going to talk about this flavor of army rule, into which I think I can make the claim that you go, well, they don't just put command points in army rules. Why would they do that for Synapse? Yeah. I think it's okay when the giant fucking robots can do it, that if at the start of any of your command phase, your selected oath deed is complete, your army becomes honored for the rest of the battle, and you gain 3 CP. Now, mind you, in Noble Lance, half of them cost 2 CP, so don't know what the fuck was going on with that idea. But guess what? Imperial Knights are winning right now because Titanic with a Feel No Pain that can become better and with rerolls and can gain command points. Yeah, that actually isn't too bad, contrary to what some people would have you believe. Then, looking over at Oathband, that, by all metrics, mathematically, should be worse than Hearthband. I'm sorry, that is still my, I guess, hot take, but mathematically, Oathband should be worse. The difference is, Votann have no fucking way of gaining command points except for the fucking Oathband detachment rule, that if at the start of any of your command phases, any of those units that have been destroyed, if any of the units that you put fucking judgment tokens on gets destroyed, you gain a number of CP depending on how early in the battle you destroyed it. If you did it at the start of your first or second command phase, 3 CP. Perfect. You get 3 command points for killing something early in the game. And then you get to play the game. And I'm just saying, that goes to the fact that if you were to take an Imatech, a Swarm Lord, yeah, they theoretically can get you bonus CP for 5 turns, but 3 out of 5 isn't too damn bad when you don't have shit else in the way of CP generation. So, if they just move this part, right, if they move kind of this part and put it as the army rule for Votann, maybe we'll see something better, because Hearthband, I'm sorry, that mathematically it should be your best attachment. But moving on, let's go over to Chaos Space Marines, where they have Abby, who, each time this model's unit makes a Dark Pact and does not fail the resulting leadership test, if the result of the test was a 7-up, you gain 1 command point. Alright. Alright. That's not too bad. Can attach to Chosen or Terminators. And because you're CSM, you also have access to Chaos Lords that do the Captain thing. I don't think I need to repeat the Captain thing anymore in this video. And there's also Traitor Enforcers that can, once again, even this unit can do the Fire Overwatch thing for free and a bit better than our Sporasis. Once per turn, while this unit is leading the unit and contains a Traitor Enforcer model, you can target this unit with the Fire Overwatch stratagem for 0 CP, and can do so even if you have already targeted a different unit from your army with the stratagem. Each time you use this ability, 1 bodyguard model in that unit is destroyed. That's fine. Traitor Guardsmen, who cares? They're disposable and cheap. But it's the fact that you can repeat this. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Now, mind you, I should give the Sports some amount of credit where you can do it if somebody else did it too. But they can move and hold primary. So, womp womp, right? Moving on to once again, another thing that you go, well, shit, that's kind of more useful. A Defiler, once per fight phase, one unit from your army with this ability can be targeted with the counter-offensive stratagem for 0 command points, even if you've already used it. So, your Defilers, guess what? Instead of fighting next for 2 command points, they do it for free. We're talking about a vehicle, Walker, with smoke. T10, 3 up save, 5 up invuln, 14 wounds. Yeah, if your Defiler gets in combat, it gets to do the combat. And Dark Packs, you can choose between sustained or lethals. Yeah, that's where we're talking about being worth points. Moving on to a new faction. GSC, you don't see the Nexus that often, but has the captain thing. Or at least I haven't seen many lists with many Nexuses. Nexi? Nexi, sure. Nexuses. Nexuses. Haven't seen many of them, but they have it, and that should say that if they're not using it, damn, maybe they don't need to. You have the Achilles Ridge runners that you do see all the time, and why would I highlight this? Because they have the flare launcher. The Bears unit has smoke keyword, and you can target it with smoke screen for 0 command points. And by the way, smoke screen gives you the benefit of cover and stealth. So, sometimes you see them with spotters, but they have Survey Augur, and this is per model, so you can make it a unit by having 2 of these models, and one takes a flare launcher, one takes a Survey Augur, and you play the fucking game. You look at Reductor Saboteurs, grenades for free, provided that model has not already been targeted by the stratagem for this phase. And Acolyte Hybrids do something that I want to kind of end off on into the last genre of things that I think you probably expected me to mention. At the start of your command phase, roll 1d6 for each objective marker you control that has 1 or more units from your army with this ability within range of it. If 1 or more results is a 4-up, you gain 1 command point. So this, Battle Sisters, and well, Sisters of Battle, Adeptus Sororitas have several units like this. Grotz, or Gretchen from Orcs, this breed of unit that is, I do not only a cheap job, because for 65 points you have an objective holder, kind of screens something out, gets you primary, and can give you a command point. So, all of that to say that if all of this other shit, right, can do it, I think Tyranids with Synapse can do the fucking captain thing as if it makes lore sense. That way, my Swarm Lord, the fucking domination of Hive Mind does something, and my epic hero feels a little bit more epic for 240 fucking points. My Hive Tyrant, I don't need to take because I'm not getting value out of assault and lethal hits. And admittedly, my Flyrant does get a little bit better, right? Put you down in the spot, then I can deep strike for 6 inches, reduce cost somewhere, and then yeet a stratagem across the way with Will of the Hive Mind. In my please let this happen case. Now, just one more time, I want to look real quickly. We're going to duplicate this tab, if it lets me. And you go, well, that's just some of the factions. You didn't cover all of the factions. Let's go through it real quick. Sororitas, I put into the same aspect of the Gretchen situation because they have enough of those. And I didn't want to break my computer with more tabs. Custodes only have shield captains, really. So I will give that. But Custodes have the stat lines to say, fuck you, I don't care. Mechanicus we talked about. Titanicus, the art real. Astra Militarum talked about. Grey Knights are a different flavor of Space Marine, so kind of follow those type of rules. Imperial agents aren't an army, but they are apparently because they have just won something. I gotta look more into that. Imperial Knights talked about. Space Marines talked about. Chaos Demons, surprisingly, I thought they were going to be much more in line with us, whereas like they're suffering from that. But between Kairos Epidemius and one of the Skull Taker, Blood Sucker, Corn fucking units, destroying things in battle. Didn't think about that. And I should also add that lictors have feeder tendrils, where it's if you kill a character, you can gain a CP, but then that goes out the door with the whole fucking shenaniganizing of if I'm bringing the Swarm Lord, so do I bring more lictors and hope that I can precision out a character when not everybody has that shit? Not really, because in the mirror match, that quickly would be fucked, right? Right. So Chaos Demon's kind of in line, but Kairos does help a bit. Not much, not terribly much, but Chaos Demons, they got Legion of Excess right now, so I guess there's that. Chaos Knights, also was a little bit left out in the cold from what I saw, but I know I'm probably missing something. Maybe that's what Chaos Knights also need. CSM, we went over. Death Guard, Thousand Suns, World Eaters. They all, in my head, go with the CSM thing because you still have the fucking Chaos Lords in a way to do the thing, right? Your unit, wherever it is, can still have this discussion. And you have Primarchs that make up for their points. So, yeah. Eldari are not updated yet. And like that's not like a ooh, get on it, Wahapedia. Like you're doing this for free, grr. But seriously, the Farseer, yeah, Farseers are going to get updated with that, and Uldrad is getting updated with that. I don't remember which one, but that's getting touched on. Drukari, we're much in the same boat. Surprisingly, and maybe that's again possibly, hey, just saying, the weaker armies seem to have a theme here as to what's going on with Drukari and Chaos Knights. I will say Drukari are actually looking pretty okay right now, but don't tell anybody. Um, Things that are viewed as weak armies don't have a lot of CP manipulation. Orcs talked about real quick with Gretchen, but beyond that, whatever. And yeah, we covered the rest. So we went through a good swath of the armies and the options for CP manipulation, but I do think I I rest my case. I think I've made enough of a case that Synapse has room to do the captain thing. Because, quite frankly, the game lets you do the captain thing for a lot. And if I can not need to take 235 points every fucking list, or at least 200, because hey, we'll be generous and say that more people take the Flyrant than they do. Uh, 200 points per list. If I didn't take 1/5 of my list off the bat to play the game, I think that would give us more room to play the game with other units, and then we have something a little bit better, because going to the balanced or boring aspect is like, yeah, the Tyranids are doing fine. They're like 3-2 and 4-1 on average. They have like a 51% win rate, I think I last saw. Yeah, all the cool things. But we don't fucking do shit, right? I understand Custodes' pain now, where it's like, yeah, when you're good, you're like good, and you're winning through pure stat checks. We're doing it with monsters. They're doing it with being fucking Custodes, right? But yeah, we don't. You don't do much. You stand over there and hope they can't punch you, and you try to punch them more. With hopefully damage 3 in some type of way. So yeah, things like that. So I say all this to say, Synapse, I just released an entire fucking video on things that I would like to see out of Synapse and what Synapse used to be, and so on and so forth. But this might be my last. Okay, who am I kidding? It won't be my last. It might be one of the more reasonable. Hey, can we change Synapse to this? It won't automatically break things like Exocrines, Tyrannofexes, Maleceptors. Like it won't break our already decent units. And it will make our shittier things better because now we have space for them. Because a lot of it comes down to, man, I would really like to bring a Screamer Killer, but for 145 points, I just can't put it in the list. And now, with an additional maybe 200 something points, maybe I can't. Maybe I can fit a Screamer Killer. Maybe I can feel comfortable about 90-point Neurolictors, shit like that. This is a new discussion that I think opens up things. Maybe the Parasite of Mortrix for 80 points being a deep striking lone op Synapse unit just for the fuck of giving a different unit a free stratagem will come into conversation then. I think Synapse, if it just gets a light touch, another touch in general, we can have this. Oh, yeah, the Tyranid Codex feels better. So hey, that's what I got for that one. I think I feel more confident in this one, and I am going on, so I'm going to wrap it the fuck up. If you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.